There are no more excuses for Mikel Arteta. It is do or die this season in the Premier League. Because of Arsenal's transfer business so far, it now means that Mikel Arteta is expected to go and win a Premier League or a Champions League title this season. And it's not an easy task. It's something that is going to be very challenging. But Arsenal must do something big this season. They must at least win another trophy, or the pressure will really start to build on Mikel Arteta, and that is because of all of the new signings that they have made in this transfer window. I believe Arsenal have had a fantastic window in the transfer market. They've added in all of the positions that I think that they needed and required coming into the season. They've recruited in them, and ultimately now the pressure is on Arteta because they have just gone ahead and signed Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace, one of the most exciting attacking talents in English football. He is going to be a very good player for Arsenal. Off of that left-hand side, he adds creativity. He also can score goals. He takes corners as well, which will be big. Another corner taker to Arsenal of quality, which is obviously one of their strengths, set pieces. On top of that as well, he's also a good free kick taker, so he could score goals from free kicks. And ultimately, it's just a really useful player to have in the squad because he's going to add so much quality off that left-hand side, as well as also providing depth to Martin Odegaard in that attacking midfield position, because if Martin Odegaard gets injured, Eze can slot in there as well. So that is an absolutely fantastic signing, which they've massively needed to bring in off of that left-hand side. They've also brought in Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon, who has one of the best goal-scoring records of any player in European football last season for Sporting Lisbon in both the Liga NOS and the Champions League. That is also important to stress, the Champions League as well. And many people believe that that was the core issue with Arsenal and the reason why they did not get over the line in previous seasons, because they didn't have that established goal scorer who was going to play up top, consistently score goals, and back them over 20 goals in a Premier League season. They've now got a striker capable of doing that in Victor Gyökeres, and on top of that as well, adding the talent of Eze to that front line, already containing Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard. That front four is good enough to win a Premier League title. That front four is good enough to win something. And if Arsenal do not win something this season, I do think that Mikel Arteta will come under serious pressure, because ultimately they've recruited in all of the positions in the front line, which a lot of people said was the reason why they have not been able to previously win titles. And on top of that as well, they've also brought in some really big signings. Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad is an absolutely fantastic acquisition in my opinion, and he could massively impact the way Arsenal are to play this season. Now, we didn't see it in the Manchester United game. However, Martin Zubimendi is a pass master in the midfield, and if you look at one of the big issues for Arsenal last season, they became a little bit too rigid, a little bit too stoky, I guess is the way that a lot of people would call it, and they played a lot more direct, relying on long throws into the box, corners, set pieces, all of this type of stuff. Martin Zubimendi should be the signing which gets them ticking again in the midfield, a player who can play through the lines, has the confidence in possession, the awareness on the ball, and he is just ultimately a very, very good footballer who's going to get them ticking in the midfield. So they've gone and signed him, who I think is going to be instrumental this season, on top of the striker, on top of the left winger, and on top of that as well, they've also recruited an extra midfielder in there for squad depth, because they've allowed Thomas Partey to leave on a free for very obvious reasons, but they've brought in a very good player in Christian Norgard in the midfield, who was a captain for Brentford last season under Thomas Frank, was a very underrated player in that midfield, very consistent for them, a leader. He is going to add so many qualities to this Arsenal team, and if they do need him to come in, I do think that he will fit into this Arsenal system quite well. He's physical, he covers ground well, he's good on the ball, and ultimately I think it's a fantastic acquisition, although at the time he was signed, a few eyebrows were raised. And you add those four signings into a team which already has David Raya in goal, who's a very reliable goalkeeper, who had a very good season last season, and I think he's proving himself every season more and more that he is becoming a top goalkeeper. And then you look at the back four. The back four is super solid. They've got Jurrien Timber, Ben White, both in that right back position. You look at the centre back options, obviously William Saliba and Gabriel are the starting two, but behind that they've got a lot of depth as well. And then on the left back position, they've got Lewis Skelly, who's coming through, who's a very exciting young talent. They've got Calafiori Traore, who can also play in that role as well. But then you go into the midfield. Obviously, I've said that they've signed Zubimendi, they've signed Norgard, but on top of that, they've got Declan Rice, who's been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League and in Europe for the last couple of seasons, who has a lot of qualities which can, blend with Zubimendi very well in the midfield. Zubimendi might actually allow him to be freed up a little bit more to, make those runs into the box, maybe get a few more opportunities to score some goals. And then you add to that as well the quality that they've got now in the final third. You've got Martin Ødegaard, Bukayo Saka. They've brought in Madueke as well as a really good backup for Bukayo Saka, which is going to add really good squad depth for them next season. And it's going to allow Bukayo Saka to rest a little bit more, which I think is very important. So they've brought in Madueke to supplement Saka as well. They've brought in Gyökeres to supplement, obviously, the striker role. You've got Kai Havertz, who's unfortunately picked up what looks like it's going to be a big injury for them this season, which is part of the reason why they did go and get Eze. But they've also got Gabriel Jesus, who can play in that striker role as well. They've got Mikel Merino, who can also occupy that striker role, can come in as a central midfielder as well. They've got off the left-hand side now Eze, Martinelli. They've also got Gabby Jesus, who can operate from that position as well. They've got Trossard, who can operate in multiple positions across the front line. They have got so much quality in their first 11 now, and across their squad as squad depth as well. They should be expected to win something this season. And ultimately, it's going to bring massive pressure on Mikel Arteta and this Arsenal squad this season. The first sign of the first game against Manchester United doesn't look good. They didn't have a good performance, but they did manage to get the 3 points. We're expecting, obviously, to see them build as the season goes on. They've got, I believe, Leeds in their next game on the weekend, so I think that's going to give us a little bit more of an idea of what they're going to be like when they are the dominant team in games. But it's going to be very interesting to see how Arsenal progress throughout the season. They've made some really big signings. They have got no excuse this season to go and challenge very hard for this Premier League title. And ultimately now, if they do not win something this season, I do think that there is a good chance that Mikel Arteta gets sacked. I really do believe that, because you've got to think this is so many seasons now. I think it's 6 seasons without a trophy for Mikel Arteta. If he does not acquire one this season, that is so many seasons building and building and building with the same manager. And ultimately, I think that it's going to massively ramp up the pressure on him. I think the fans of Arsenal, for one, are going to expect more from them this season. They're going to expect some silverware. And now it's going to be very interesting to see how Arsenal do throughout the season. Are they going to improve in possession with the signing of Zubimendi? Is he going to be big for them? Is Gyökeres going to hit the ground running like a lot of people are expecting him to do so? Is Eze going to add that much needed quality off the left-hand side, which Arsenal have been lacking for seasons? Is Madueke going to provide suitable cover for Bukayo Saka so Mikel Arteta can rest him in more games and get more out of Bukayo Saka while also not fatiguing him too much? So it's going to be very interesting throughout the season to see how Arsenal cope with the pressure which is now going to be on them, because they are expected to win the Premier League or the Champions League this season, and if not, at a bare minimum, win an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup. But as I said, the pressure is on now, so it'll be interesting to see how they cope with that. They've got all of the ingredients that they need now. They've spent a lot of money in the market. They've brought in the players in which they have needed. They've done all the right business this window. It's now about seeing how Mikel Arteta can get the best out of this group of players in the new season. It will be interesting to see how Arsenal do. Let me know in the comments as well below where you think Arsenal are going to finish this season. Do you think they're going to win a trophy of any sorts? And also another little prediction. Do you think that Mikel Arteta could get sacked off of the back of all the pressure, and if they do not win anything? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think it's crunch time now for Arsenal. They have to go and win something this season, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you do want to see more of my content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.